5 o'clock. It's a very short document. It's around 8 pages, and if 2 lawyers can't work that out between them, and I've sort of worked on some real tough contracts and done them very quickly. If they can't do that by 5 o'clock, then we know it's not serious. So that's where we are, and so we'll be able to let you know by that time today whether this is on or off, or who Bill is fighting. And as I say, we will be announcing whatever happens a fight for Bill after 5 o'clock. Just want to go through the fights that are on the card, which have been agreed and have been signed for. We've got cracking fights. A lot of these are 50-50 fights. We've got the British and Commonwealth Super Featherweight title between Liam Walsh and Gary Sykes. Great fight for the fans. We've got a fabulous fight for the British and vacant Commonwealth welterweight title between Frankie Gavin, the British champion, and Bradley Skeet, WBA Intercontinental champion. Again, brilliant fight on paper. I'm sure everybody enjoyed that. We've got the vacant WBO European Super Middleweight title, Frank Buglioni against Andrew Robinson. That is a good fight. It's a tough fight, but again, the fans will benefit. Got a fabulous little fight for the WBA International Super Bantamweight title, Luis Petit against Santiago Alioni from Argentina. And then we've got the vacant WBO European Super Featherweight title between Mitchell Smith, who's undefeated, against Zoltan Kovacs from Hungary. Some great youngsters on the undercard. Got a great main event. The missing ingredient is is who Bill fights. So all I will say is Chris Eubanks Senior. You rang me, said you're watching this on live on streaming. If you're serious, 5 o'clock, instruct your lawyer. They both have our numbers. Get it done, or if it's not done, we move on.
And I think that if he's got the mouth, what he says is, and he can beat Golovkin. I mean, come on, they're supposed to be professional people. Is anybody, everybody's been around boxing all their life here, can anyone put their hand up if his son beats Golovkin? You know what I mean? He's brainless, that's what I mean. It's just, he just knows for 100% fact his son's getting beat. See, his dad can talk around him, his dad can talk to him why this fight's getting made, why people's talking about the fight. Yeah, you can beat Billy Joe, you can do this, son, you can. But now he knows it's come to crunch time, signing a contract, and the fight's 9 weeks away Saturday. Now it's called squeaky bum time. That's what it's called. Now he knows he's got to face it. He's not ready for it. He knows he's not ready for it. Let me tell you one thing. Right, he's been to the Olympic Games at 18, has he? No. He's had 86 amateur fights. Right, lost 6. No. He's boxed all around the world as an amateur. No. I've done from Southern area to Commonwealth to British to WBO Intercontinental to European. Has he boxed 110 round yet? No. He refused a British title eliminator. That's it. He ain't got no arse. He's not a fighter. Let me tell you one thing. People keep saying he's hungry this, he's hungry that. I've been brought up in an egg box all my life, come from nothing. He's been brought up with a silver spoon in his mouth. He's had the choice. Do we want to fight? Do we want to go to college? Or where do we want to go? I've had to fight all my life. So if he wants to fight, I'm ready to fight. But like I said, it's got to be 5 o'clock, no later. Otherwise, like I say, I want to move on to bigger and better things. Because I know around the corner, I've got a world title shot. So I've just got to get through my next fight, whoever that may be. Then I know that I'm going to be world champion after that.
Are there any? Oh, sorry, right. Just want to say one thing. Bill Ives, who's a partner with me in Fox Nation. We're both, between him and my family have quite substantial shareholding in the business. But just, we're coming up to our 3rd anniversary. We're having a little lunch here on Monday to celebrate that and tell you about what's happened, how we got there, and obviously what we're doing in the future. Bill's a big believer in the channel like myself, and he's worked very hard with me to get us into this situation. I spoke to him this morning on the phone, and I'm sure he'll tell you yourself, but he said to me, I've never known a business like this, boxing. He said, what is it? Why is there always aggravation? Why can't people do their deals like they should do? Why do we get into this, why are we in these positions? And
that's right, I've never known, in my business, I've had my company for 41 years. We've got an excellent reputation, we always do what we say we're going to do, stick by deals, and I've done many deals over the years, run stockholding companies for 50 years. Shake hands, you stick by it. You stick by the original deal, do what you're supposed to do. Boxing, it's like You think they were prima donnas, banner dancing. It's just unbelievable. I don't know how Frank puts up with it, because it's bus driving men. I don't know how he does it, because changing this one, I mean, you had all the nonsense with Tyson, you know.
But we are where we are. All we want to do is deliver the fans the fights, and the channel. I mean, it's with the greatest respect. Bill started out with me. He's been a Box Nation fighter. He's been there from the beginning, and we appreciate all the fights. And he's had some hard fights. I can't think of too many fighters in this country. I think it's his last 4 fights. He's fought 4 undefeated fighters in title fights. I can't think of anybody, to be quite honest, who's done that. So everything has been asked of him, he's done. He's stepped up, and he's local derbies, the whole thing. He did what he had to do. And I'm telling you, with Billy Joe, and we were talking about it the other day when we were talking about the Chris Eubanks fight. You look at his record, and I obviously keep an eye on my fighters, because I've got quite an interesting guide in their careers, and ensuring that hopefully my judgment, that they get through my judgment, they'll get to the top. And with the great training that Jimmy's done with him, he's done a fantastic job with him, Jimmy Tibbs. But you look at his fights, and you look at when he's been up against it, he's pulled it out. And he doesn't need marking time type of fights. He needs fights that are going to incentivise him, that get the best out of him. And I remember when he fought, Jared Fletcher, who's gone on to be quite a decent fighter at York Hall. He was the underdog for that fight. Fletcher coming undefeated. He pulled it out the bag and absolutely done a job on Jared Fletcher. And I think Fletcher went on to some bigger and better things. And in his last fight against Blandamura, that was considered to be a real tough fight for him. And when we look at Dan Bill's record, and you see quite a few fights have gone the distance. Is he a banger or he isn't? Well, certainly he was a banger that night. He pulled a punch out, which must look like being one of the knockouts of the year, or a contender for it. So when he's got the bit between his teeth, when the challenge is there, you get the best out of Billy Joe. There's no doubt about it, and that's why I'd like to see this fight go on. But if he doesn't by 5 o'clock, I can assure you, he'll be in I think he'll be in a tougher fight if we don't manage by 5 o'clock. And as I say, he needs these fights to bring the best out of him. He's been a consummate professional and done it the hard way. As he said, Southern area, British, Commonwealth, European, done everything that's been asked of him.
Can you tell us what the fight is that you've got lined up if Eubanks doesn't?
I'm not being. I can at 5 o'clock. I'm not being evasive about it. I suppose I am. But I can't at the moment, because I have to get permission for the fight to take place, and because of the time difference at the moment, it's a little bit difficult. But it'll be a well-timed fight.
Would it really rather have a well-timed fight than fight a Polish pub fighter?
Well, listen, I've been in it to be world champion all of my life, but when you've got someone screaming your name, what they're going to do, what they don't want to do, and everybody wants to see him get knocked out, I fight for the fans, and I've got 33,000 Twitter followers, so many on Facebook, so all everybody's talking about is me and Chris Eubanks. So before I move on to what I want to do, which I know is going to be there before this fight or after, sure like to God, come on. I should be a walk in the park for him if he can beat Golovkin. You know what I mean? His dad must be insane for saying that, for one. I ain't got a clue what his dad's on, some sort of medical drugs or something, but to say that, he must be.
Any other questions?
Have you ever been as confident for a fight as you are for this one, if it happens?
Listen, I know for 100% fact, Chris Eubanks Jr. would never ever beat me as long as he breathes air, ever. And I know that. I would lay my life. I'll tell you what, I said it before when I boxed John Ryle, I'll say it again. If Chris Eubanks Jr. beats me, I promise you not, I will give up boxing. I will stop boxing. My gloves are aimed up. If I can't beat him, I'm not going to be world champion. And I'm in it to be world champion. I'm not in here to be, to pussyfoot around here, to pick this opponent, pick that opponent. I'm a fighter, I'll fight anybody. Any middleweight in the world, I will fight. Simple as that. So in there, he's just. I will show people what if he's got the guts to step in the ring, I will show people what he is. I will exploit him for what he is, a fraud, and that's what he is.
Don't you think every time you call out his name and he calls out your name, you just keep him right there?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. He's got 5 o'clock tonight. If you don't, you won't hear me mention his name no more because he's put to the backside. And me and Frank have been working on a bigger fight, and it is a bigger fight. What will be happening, hopefully, please God. Then so he'd be forgot about then. He'd be forgot about what then probably get beat by some other British fighter.
Frank, what's actually the likely chances of him actually doing this by 5 o'clock or getting this done by 5 o'clock?
It's really simple. You've got 2 lawyers, 2 solicitors. My solicitor knows what the instructions are regarding the contract, and it's up to him to instruct his solicitor. My solicitor's got instruction. We were on the phone till 11:30 again last night, having thought I agreed it, or it was agreed. God knows how many. Every day it's been agreed, and that's why we, unfortunately we are where we are. But if they can't get that sorted out by 5 o'clock, they've got what? 4 hours, from 1 o'clock onwards, 4 hours. If they can't do that, then they're not. Then they're either not good solicitors or they don't want the fight to happen. It's really simple. There's no rocket science about this. You're either going to give the fans what they want, or you're not. And then we move on, or the fight goes on. If the fight goes on, fantastic.
They've had the contract for nearly a month anyway. So
this has been going on, and Chris Senior said to me that being in Vegas, he's only just got back, and I'll reiterate, if I do a deal with Bob Arum, who's based in Vegas, he doesn't have to fly over here for me to do the deal, and vice versa. Here's the agreement. Is that right? I don't like clause 1, clause 2, and we negotiate and get it done. This is crazy stuff. It's ridiculous, and it's a bit disappointing we're here today to be in this situation. I'm getting on a bit now. The blood pressure last night really went through the roof because it's some of it is just farcical. Absolutely, yeah. 5 o'clock we will be announcing what we're doing.
Frank, you keep saying that it's being agreed every day. What changes from there? Are they after more money?
Well, it's well, Andy's been dealing with it with Harley, Andy Owen, who's standing up the back there, and it just gets changed all the time. Last night we agreed something, and today what was agreed and what was reflected come back differently, and that's where we are. I mean, it's pointless getting into the sort of details of it because it's the details what they are right now. I'm sure by 2 o'clock, if there is going to be negotiation, will change again. But I can't. There was there's certain clauses in there. Obviously, we agreed that there'd be an ongoing situation should he win, and so forth. But people talk about having 4 fights in basically 3 months is it's impractical. 4 months, I should say, is impractical. So things like that were in there, and anyway, but that's all by the by. Last night we agreed it. Today, this morning, it all got changed. Apparently, they were all in the car ready to come up here. I said we need to get the agreement signed. If we don't get the agreement, if the agreement's not signed, then we're out of this. We're finished with it. And that was my position. Came here, had a chat with Bill. Bill said, we'll give him until 5 o'clock. He said, if he really wants it, he'll sign. If he don't want it, then he won't sign.
So you clarify, it's not financial?
No. All the money terms are all agreed.
But also there were rematch clauses and things like that.
Yeah, I always have a rematch clause in these type of fights. First of all, it's a voluntary defence. It's not an ordered defence. And why would I have a rematch clause in there? If the first round or the second round or the third round is a clash of heads, there's a cut, and he's in front, why wouldn't you have it? It goes without saying.
And I'll be happy. When I beat him, I will give him a rematch straight after if he wants it. I can't be any fairer than that. Before I move on for anything, when I beat him, I'll give him a rematch straight after, as if he wanted to get back in the ring with me.
And what's the tickets, obviously been selling tickets on this fight as well? Has there been a lot of upsurge in it?
Well, we haven't, because we tried to hold, but we've held back as long as we can to announce it. We've had a tremendous take-up of tickets, as I said, on Monday for the Fury and Chisora fight, and obviously, we've not announced or not had press conferences yet for the undercard. I mean, they're all top of the bills in their own right. that's you know, in the Midlands, Skeet or down here, Skeet and Bradley Skeet and Frankie Gabb is a cracking fight in itself. You know, Liam Walsh and Gary Sykes, they're Bill topping fights. These are all 50-50 fights on paper. You know, for a boxing fan, I think it's the best show, and hopefully, whether it be Chris Eubanks Jr. or Bill's fighting for the other title, then we've got a fabulous card. I think it's the best boxing card, pure boxing card that I've seen for a number of years. And I know everybody say, well, what about Groves or Frock and Groves? Well, let's get it right. On paper, Carl Frock was going into that fight as a big favourite. These are 50-50 fights on paper. He doesn't think so. He knows where he's at with his fight. He fights Christopher, but everybody's got a view on it.
Frank, if the fight with Billy Joe doesn't happen, does that have any effect on whether Chris fights on the 25th of October?
I'm not even going to get into that yet. It's pointless, and we'll see what happens.
How have you found them to deal with you before this?
Sorry?
Yeah, how have you found Eubanks to deal with before this? Have they been okay?
Well, it's not them. I deal with Christopher Senior. Young Chris, I've only ever spoken to him. He's saying the bill outside. I've only spoken to him probably 4 or 5 times. And he's quite personable, quite a nice young lad. But Chris Eubanks, you guys will be around. Chris Eubanks, it can be. What did he say to me earlier on? I said to him, it's sometimes it's soul destroying and it's hard work. And he said, well, I'm Chris Eubanks. That's where we are. I might get this show sponsored by Anadin.
Frank, ideally everyone obviously wants to see Billy Joe on this card fight Chris Eubanks. Is there no chance of pushing it back a bit?
No,
December,
that's
January?
not going to happen. If this fight doesn't happen, if this is not done at 5 o'clock, we move on. Absolutely, it will not happen. We're not games and shit. I don't want anybody to think it's all that. It's very disappointing where we are today, and I think we're being more than fair. And there you go. It's 5 o'clock deadline. You either want it or you don't want it.
Listen, if this fight doesn't happen, would you be minded to cut him off the show?
If this don't get made before 5 o'clock,
he's not going to fight. He will not be fighting on our show. There's no room on the card for another fight. That will not happen.
On the 25th.
No, he will not be. No, he won't be fighting. You either fight. What we agreed, the deal, that's all reflected in the agreement. Everything. We're either going to fight, we're either going to work together, or we're not going to work together. We're not work together. Move on. Promoting is not all about being about one person, one boxer. If you're running a promotional business, you're looking after a number of clients, you're looking after them, and no one can dictate what you're going to do or think your business is going to be driven by them. It's not. I've been down that road with people over the years, and more importantly, my emphasis has been for the last 3 years is a small group of fighters, including Bill, who we've done brilliantly. But my emphasis has been on building a channel, a TV channel, a successful TV channel. It's 3rd year coming up. It's what Bill and I have been working on very hard for the last 2 years, and it's become very, very successful. We've got a database of over 350,000 subscribers now. So we're all happy.
Jimmy, you've been in the game long enough. Have you ever experienced anything like this before yourself? And obviously, how frustrating is it you as a coach?
No, I've never experienced not this close to a fight. For Green, I've been involved with fights where injuries have occurred and they've had to pull out, all genuine, but someone never seemed to get to the bottom. Chris, so I've been listening to Frank, it's the first I knew about it today. And it's very disappointing because this fight is really, it's already been said, but it's really for the fans. All the fans, whether they're Chris Eubanks fans or Billy Joe's fans. He's doing it for the fans. And as he said, we're all geared up to go away abroad to train. I'm sure we'll sort something else out of it.
Is this something you could have probably foreseen before? Because you've been asked about Eubanks before, you've obviously...
Well, I said to Billy Joe when I was first making the match, don't be surprised if he pulls out. Just the things he's getting in your head, but I didn't know it was going to come true. That's what's happened.
And it's funny, as what Jim said to me, weeks ago, we talked about it, he'll pull out.
So we've got to think boxing's about levels, and when you know in your own head and in your own heart you're not at somebody else's level, you know, it's the truth. It's like me saying now, am I Golovkin's level? No, I'm not. Because I know that, but I will admit it. But he won't. He knows he's not my level, so his only option out is to moan about silly little pieces in the contract clause not to fight. And if that's what he wants to moan about and, you know, move on, I'll move on and I'll get on to bigger and better things, because there's definitely bigger and better fights out there for me to move me on and my boxing career on than wait about for him. So.
On the 11th of October. Yeah, we're going to Marbella. June now, yeah. It's all set up, all done, flights done, everything's done.
Bill, do you think he's scared to fight it?
What?
Or do you think he's scared and that's why he's messing
Listen,
around?
people can. I don't have to say that. People knows he's scared to fight me. Listen, if he ain't going to turn up against a press conference, is he going to turn up to get in the ring with me? We're 9 weeks out to the fight Saturday, so you know obviously that he hasn't got a bottle. He needs to step out of his dad's shadow and be a man for himself and get out and face the music. Has he got the bottle to fight me? No, he hasn't. That's what he is. He's running scared like a little woman hiding behind his dad. His dad can't help him in that ring. Once he's in that ring, that bell goes. It's just me and him. Matter of fact, why, if he do box me, while I'm beating him, I'm going to talk to him. That's definitely what I want to do to him. It's just that, because it's not like I need to fight him, because I'm the champion, I don't need to fight him. But when someone's had a contract for a month and you're getting ready, you're geared up, you book things, you know, we all had things to do today. You know, Jimmy had people to train today, but he put that off to be here. You know, you don't just not turn up, or you don't just last minute, we're not fighting, we're pulling out over silliness. You know, so if you haven't got the bottle to fight, let him carry on fighting his journeyman, and he might build himself a record up to 25 fights.